Hey guys.
Making sure my phone's on silent. Sorry. Hello, how are you? Oh, look, whoever's outside, I'm mad at because I was outside and I had to come in to teach. Who is that?
That's Jennifer.
I don't like Jennifer. I've already tried to move this outside like 3 times. I wanted to stay outside.
It's so windy where we're at too. I wouldn't be able to hear, I don't think.
Oh, no, my backyard was really, I even texted our Dofi and I was like, can I call in sick? Because there's like no wind in our yard. It's like 70 degrees.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm a little salty. And I was like, oh, if nobody joins, I get to go home, right? Back to my yard and my nice deck. So I guess we'll wait a couple more minutes. She was letting in people in the room, but it's only one fit. Oh, it beeps every time. Oh. Can you tell I normally have my sound off? Hello, everybody.
Hello. Are you our teacher today?
I am.
That's
So
exciting.
I'm sorry. You're stuck with me. I don't even know who's talking to me right now.
This is Teresa. Sorry, my thing's off. I
Hey.
had surgery. I had surgery so nobody can see me.
Oh, no, you're good. Yes, I'm the teacher, but I just told them I'm a little salty because I'm inside and I would really like to be outside.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Take your little stuff out there and you can give it outside.
No, I came to the office so I could actually focus, but we'll see how that goes. But I literally sent Cassandra a picture from my backyard earlier and I was like, can I just call in sick? I was like, it's
Oh, I
literally
know.
70 degrees outside.
Oh my gosh, for the first time. See, we're still in Charlotte where I had surgery, so we haven't seen. So is it all sunny there now? Are there any leaves popping on the trees?
I have the teeny tiniest little buds on the whatever the tree out front is. I don't know what it is. I kill plants, but I have daffodils that actually bloomed out back.
Are you?
Oh my gosh, that is my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, I was pretty excited when I saw them come up. I was like, oh.
So who else on here?
Y'all, it's like a gale windstorm outside.
Oh, it's not at my
It's
house.
windy here too.
Gorgeous.
Oh my God. I'm going to sit on my deck and do my class. It's going to be awesome. And I'm sitting there, my hair is blowing in my face and my papers are everywhere. Like, this stinks.
Yeah, I was gonna do the same thing, Jennifer, but it's so windy here. I don't think I'd be able to hear the class.
Yeah, it's
I don't
just
know,
too,
I'm pretty
it's too
loud.
windy. It's sad because it's so warm.
Oh. Hold on, there's still people joining in. I'm trying to hit admit before I start. Y'all, they got like 2 minutes.
Oh, Ethan Robinson. What? So, I need to say something.
Well, it is not, at least it wasn't windy in Salem because it's not really windy in Roanoke at the office because I was ready to stay outside. Oh, look at all these people. This is why I said I was going to wait a minute or two.
Hey, this is Vanessa Robinson. I just want to let you know I'm on my son's Zoom, apparently. It says Ethan on there, just so you know, that's not Ethan. I'm driving back from DC for my appointment, so
Oh, it says Vanessa now.
yes, I'm
It just
says
changed.
Vanessa. Oh, good. Okay, great. Because I
Fixed it for you, Vanessa.
Ethan. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Good
it
deal.
just changed off the name.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right, they
you.
got 1 minute before I start, guys. Only because people are it's still popping up. But I don't like it when people are late. They can watch it later. Because we all have things to do. There's a lot of people. See, I told Cassandra, I was like, if nobody joins, I can go back home. She was like, no, you'll have lots of people. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So if somebody jumps in, sorry, they'll be a little bit late. So I am Katie Cookson. Look, as soon as I start talking, admit, sorry. So I'm Katie Cookson. I am in the Roanoke office. I am on the ALC, which is how I got roped into teaching this on such a gorgeous day. So we are going to go through, this is the Ignite season or series. Maybe we're going to go through. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So this is Ignite session 8. It's find and show homes, which, you know, right now, good luck because we don't have anything. So, oh, did you guys do homework? Did anybody do this? She's laughing. Nobody did this, did they?
Since nobody's answering, nobody did it.
I did not.
We're going right past this, okay? We're gonna pretend like everybody did it and we went over this, okay? Oh, look. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Sorry, there's more people coming in. No, see? Okay. So there is homework with each session. We're gonna pretend like everybody's done it. Move forward. There is something each time. This is all for that. This is the lead generation. Sorry, guys. I'm thrown off by they put that in the beginning. I thought they took it out. So the lead generation, as everybody knows, is the most important. So every day you're supposed to be adding 10 new contacts. You're supposed to speak to 10 people, and it says to write 10 notes. I will tell you that I probably write more notes than I actually do call people. And people love the notes. Like they send me pictures of them in the mail, and I'm not sure why, but they're like, look, I got your cards today, and they'll shoot me a text. So I know the note card thing does work. People like handwritten notes. It also says weekly to preview 10 homes. I know we have a group in the Roanoke office that goes out and preview. So I don't know, I'm sure Lynchburg does too. And they set up like little mini home tours. Again, in this market, I don't know if you're going to find 10 homes that are actually for sale, not already under contract. See, this is all related to that. I want to get into the next part. So because we don't have books, because we're not in person, this is the time where we would start the calls and we do the handwritten notes. We're going straight into Ignite. So I'm sure there's plenty of seasoned agents on here that can also tell you that once you can find the right home for your buyer, you are so far ahead. I bet she sent it over here. I'm checking real quick to see if she sent it to me. Maybe she didn't. I was hoping she sent me some of the other stuff. Finding the right home for your buyer is tricky, like knowing what they want. My team actually has a questionnaire that we have everybody fill out, and I have taken it from questions that we see a lot as agents, but I've also taken it when I first started. I had some of the top agents. I went to all the classes that we could have, and I took every time they said that they had a buyer questionnaire that they were willing to share, I asked them for it. And I like picked and gleaned like, you know, questions that I saw continuously popping up or things that I would have never thought of. So ours is about 2 pages long, and I just ask buyers to fill it out to the best of their ability. And some of the things they don't even think about, just like I hadn't, until they have the sheet in front of them. But I have found that that really helps, because then when they send you a home that is not at all what they asked for, and you're like, hey, you know, remember this sheet that we did together? You know, you said you wanted XYZ and this is ABC. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. I actually don't. And then they're like, oh, no, I don't want to waste your time, because you're right. You have the home I want. It just looked pretty. It's like holding a pretty shiny toy when they see the new listing, especially right now, because there's not that many. So they want to go see them, even if it's not at all similar to what they're looking for. So, good Lord, if she thinks I can read this, she's crazy. So on the statistics, I'm having to zoom in on my phone, guys. Sorry, I do have my contacts in, I promise. The NAR statistics say that the typical home buyer searched for over 10 weeks, and they only viewed 10 homes in that time to find the right one. It says that 92% of buyers use the internet in their home search. I actually don't have anybody who doesn't use the internet in their home search. I mean, does anybody else? I haven't even had clients recently ask me about any other way to search for homes. And I mean, we still have like the home magazines that go out and they're still in the newspaper, but I don't have any clients looking for homes that way. It says 50% of buyers use a mobile website, and I have had more of my clients. Have you guys been sending out the Keller, like the My Keller Williams app to clients? Because I have had a lot of clients start downloading that to be on the go. So it's alerting them immediately when new homes are coming up. So I think that statistic will start to climb. One of the other statistics says that 98% of buyers who used an agent viewed the agent as a source of information and a resourceful, that's too many good words, a useful information source. So they felt like they did get, they were helped and they were understood. It says more than 50% of buyers reported finding the right home was the most difficult step. And that's usually what I tell people when I go through my home buying consultation with them. I'm like, if we can just get you to this step, I promise you the rest just kind of flows into place. It's the same time, the same situation we go through. They may look different, but it's the same steps each time. Finding that right home for the client is literally going to be the most difficult part of the thing. It says 24% of recent home buyers reported the primary reason for the recent home purchase was their desire to own a home. And my team has noticed a huge upsurge, especially with the lower rates, that we've had a lot of first-time home buyers who've been renting, who basically just wanted to finally own their own home. It was mainly a matter of to show that they were able to accomplish it. They've been working really hard in life. 9% purchased a new home due to a job-related relocation. And then 8% bought for the desire to be in a better area or a change in a family situation. So there's just some statistics. I'm sure those will change because they're probably a year old based on when this Ignite was released. And I'd say especially the mobile app will start going up, and you're going to see more and more people using the mobile app as they're looking for their homes on the home search, just because it's at their fingertips. Oh, look, she told me to use my phone. She put it all in here for me. Man, Cassandra. See, this is where it's hard because you guys don't have any of this, right? Does anybody have the paperwork?
Actually, we did
I
have
think
a bunch
most
of
of us
books that were
have
printed.
books.
Do you have them? Okay.
Yes, I have a book. I think most of us do.
Okay.
Yeah, we all have it.
Okay, good. So it says to turn to page 15. I was like, I'm using the book on my phone literally, but it's not here. So I didn't know if you guys had them or not. So it says to turn to page 15. And this is actually a really good one because it's how to reduce the list of the matching properties. So this is where I'm talking about where my team uses a questionnaire. And I would totally ask agents in your office, like the questions that they ask and pick and glean what you want to make your own for clients and have them fill it out. So it says to choose the best properties to show your buyers. Choose a partner to work with. One will be the agent, the other will be the buyer. So you guys are supposed to do this in teams. I don't know how we're supposed to do teams over Zoom. So I guess I'm going to lead it for you. This is what makes it difficult. So everybody in here knows how to search in the MLS. I'm not pulling the MLS up. Instead, I'm going to go through this. So we also, I'm sorry, guys. It keeps wanting you to go in groups here. And I'm like, there's no groups. We can't do this in groups right now. We're all in different places. So when you go in the MLS and you go through, they've taken our full search away. I don't know what Lynchburg looks like, but we only have a quick search now to go through and pull properties. So when we're going in, you're trying to reduce properties just because they're shiny and pretty if they don't meet your client's criteria, right? So you want to go through, you want to put the price range in. That's the most important, especially in this market, because we're seeing so many homes, they're going above list price and they're getting multiple offers. So making sure you have something in your client's price range is probably the biggest thing, that we're all struggling with right now. You then you can narrow it down by neighborhood. So, put your prices in, then you can narrow it down. Like ours has the different locations in Roanoke, but then it also has neighborhoods if you want to be that specific. If you have a client that just wants like one neighborhood out of everything, you can put their one neighborhood in, or, we can do it by school districts. Again, I'm sure Lynchburg's is very similar. I just don't use it, so I'm not sure. Yeah, she's shaking her head at me. Thank you, Tracy. So like I have a lot of clients that we narrow it down by school districts. And that's only because their kids are already in a school district. So they don't want to move their kids. So most of the time, I'd say probably over 60 to 70% of our buyers, we start with the school districts just because I have a lot of families moving. That is the first thing after price range that we do. Again, this is all about once you meet with your buyer, you have to determine what the most important thing is to them, right? The next one says bedrooms and bathrooms. If they're willing to go, they don't, either their kids aren't school age or their kids are, the private school or they're homeschooled, bedrooms and bathrooms becomes the next most important thing. You need to make sure, you can enter in and search by the number and start narrowing it down. And then of course, special features. If they want something, whether they want multiple levels, they want a pool, they want to be on a cul-de-sac, they want to be, where they can have horses, like they want to be on acreage. You can literally narrow down. Ours again is in the quick search because they got rid of the full search. There's just not as much it's not quite as much as we used to be able to. But you want to get it down to, on here, it's telling you 15 or fewer properties. And once you have that, then we start, we send them to the buyer and we're like, hey, here's the list we have. These all fit the criteria that you gave me. What out of these, is there something that you really like? Is there something you really don't? You have to start communicating with them to understand more, because sometimes just because they put it on the sheet and they said that they wanted that, then when you send them a home just like it, then all of a sudden they're like, hold on, that's not at all what I want. Or I thought I wanted this, then you sent the homes and I need to change this. So you want to narrow it down to, I'm still not sure where you're going to find 15 properties right now. But I usually send 10 to 15 if I can, if it's at all possible. With our MLS, I don't see them right now, but you try to send them a good chunk so that they have something to look at. So trying to see if this goes. Yep. Okay. I'm sure that most realtors do this. This came back to bite me in the butt last week when I was showing homes. I went to Lexington and we had 2 homes to look at. Okay. That was because that's all that was in his price range that they found. Normally, you show the home that is the closest match first, or closest. I usually show it second. Like I show the one that's kind of like iffy first. Just because if they find the right home, you're going to spend longer there. So I start at the bottom of the list and I work my way up usually. Just so, again, if they needed 4 bedrooms and this has 3 and an extra room that they think can work, but they know within 5 minutes it can't, you haven't wasted so much of your time and of their time, and you can utilize your time at the other homes better. So I usually start at my bottom of my list and work my way up. I did this last week in Lexington. The home barely fit the criteria they were looking for. I was like, oh, we'll go to that one first. Like, it'll probably be marked off, but it hit some of the key points. Turns out the pictures were awful. And the home is like a magnificent gift from God sitting there active on the MLS that was perfect for them. Because then we went to the second home, which had great pictures, and it didn't even compare. So they had already seen the best home. And as we went through, they knew within 5 minutes of the second home. So normally I try to flip it. And I'm sure most agents do, and take them to the least first, just because, like I said, we left the second home and went back to the first one because that's the one they knew within 5 minutes that they didn't like the second home. So instead of wasting your time driving back and forth and trying to make sure that you can get back in because of all the showings, I try to arrange them that way. So it says to get your home tour checklist. That's where I narrow them all down. I also make sure to send the list to the lender. I don't know if everybody else does, but if I know my buyers are really serious, I just shoot my lender, I screenshot my little list in my phone. I usually just name the note by the name of the client. And then I put the houses that we're going to go see and I screenshot it to them. And I'm like, hey, just an FYI, In case I call you, here are the addresses, just so he's prepared. If I shoot a quick text, I'm at 123 Main Street. He already knows which client I'm with. And he's already gotten, he's gotten everything ready for that different house. That's one thing I would definitely talk to your lender about, see if it kind of helps our process sometimes, especially with these multiple offers, making sure that they're ready to go. I mean, they're already pre-qualified or pre-approved, but making sure the lender can get that letter to you super fast has really helped us. It's given suggestions like printing out the detailed MLS sheets. I have noticed more and more, I usually don't print them out, but I do usually save them to my phone. And I have noticed more and more homes are not putting them out at listings. And I don't know why. I guess because buyers don't take them, but more often than not, they're not having anything out. So my buyers do appreciate that I have something saved. They usually don't want the paper. I can usually gauge after the buyer consult if they actually want the piece of paper before we go ever look at homes. Most of the time, my clients don't want a paper. They just want that screenshot that we can see on the phone and go, or on the tablet with us. But that way I've got everything ready, so when they're asking things about the home, we know what it has. I also make sure, it says to make sure you have a copy of the must-have sheet that was filled out. It's telling you to take it with you to remind them of the things they're looking for, because sometimes what happens when you get in a home is they see that nice shiny object and they're like, oh, this is the perfect home. Okay, but I know it's a great home. I know it has a lot, but you said you really needed, I don't know, a quarter of an acre yard that was fenced in because you have 3 dogs, for instance. This one has, 0.12 acres because you're in a subdivision and there's no fence. So you're not going to have a yard. Is that still important? So I try to make sure to have all these things. I have them all saved on my phone, ready to go, so that when we get to the house, I can go over it all and just continually, gently remind them, is this still important? Do you still want this? This is what we talked about, so that I can help you to the best of my ability. It's totally skipping too much stuff in here. It's on the next page on mine. It shows when helping the buyers view the homes. I automatically ask them, if they say there's something they don't like, I'm like, okay, is that a total deal breaker? Is it time to just walk out the house, or do you want to keep looking? Is it something, that can easily be fixed? Are we talking thousands upon thousands of dollars? You need to decide. I try to help them decide whether it's something we can look past and continue looking at the home, or if it's something where we just say, thank you for letting us see it, and turn around and walk out of the house. Again, I will spend an hour and a half at a house if I know my client loves the house. If my client doesn't love the house, I don't see the point in continuing to look past whatever it is they can't overlook. Because if they can't get past, the first room of the house, it doesn't matter what the rest of the house has. So that's why I try to ask them early on. And there is a home tour checklist, which again, it's got in your book. It's not on here though. And that's what I use to show. I help them answer the questions. We need to know the ages of the systems. I try to find those out ahead of time. If at all possible, I try to text the agent or call them and say, hey, I know my client they're going to ask about the roof, the HVAC, the water heater, the windows. Can you give me any of those ages up front? Because not every agent has them in the MLS. So I try to get those before we ever go see the home.
Katie, where can we find that checklist?
Mine is on page 17. That's why I stopped where it's on page 21. I was like, hold on. It has like 3 really good things before page 21. I'm literally following along on my phone. Sorry. That's why I'm not
good.
I've literally got the thing right here, because that's what mine is not the exact same. Like I said, I kind of, I make it fit to my clients. But I'm looking at it, and I do a lot of these. I have them look at the houses in the neighborhood. One of these says, the general appearance. I'm like, does this look like a good neighborhood? If it's like a relocation, or if it's a first time home buyer who just wants the house basically and wants a house in Roanoke, I'm like, great. Do you know this neighborhood? If you don't know this neighborhood, like, could you see yourself living here? Have you driven around a couple streets? You know, so this checklist is really good for that specific purpose. And it's really good because it has the answers right here, or the questions right here. I don't know if you guys have it in your books, but it gives you places where you can write things down. So if you had a client that required a lot of extra attention, it's probably the nicest way I can say that, you could print this out and take this to the home so that, you know, if they are somebody that calls you later and is like, oh, well, no, I actually hated that home, or I love that home, and yet when you went through, the response was different. You could say, well, when we were there, you know, you said this was a good thing and this was a bad thing, just to remind them. Because I've also had clients, and I'm sure every agent has, the house doesn't work. 2 weeks later, the price has dropped. Oh, wait a second, I might like that home. I'm like, but remember, you know, it was, you didn't like the fact that it was 45 minutes to work. Well, yeah, but now it's $10,000 cheaper. Okay, but it's still 45 minutes to work. Are you okay with that? And then they're like, oh, no, you're right, I'm not okay. So that's the other reason I keep this sheet. Just, you know, just to gently coach them and remind them, you know, that yes, I know it's stressful, but we want to find the correct home, not settle on, you know, the first house you see. So then it goes to touring the home. Now you need to have your mask. I would tell you to take your hand sanitizer with you. No extra people, like always. Even if the home, I do this just mainly because I am female and I'm going to show the homes by myself. Even if I know there's nobody home, I will still knock. I still call when I go in. You know, I'm staying super alert. We've all had the safety classes. And my clients know it too. I also usually lock the door behind me. And my clients know, I'm like, I have to go home to my 3 children. Like, I'm not locking you in. I'm locking us in, because especially if it's multiple stories and we're going to the second story, I can't control who's coming in if that door's unlocked. So it's really a safety thing. But, you know, it's just saying, it's when you go through the home, talking to them, visualizing the homes, you know, it's like where they always give them different names so that you can keep the home straight. This is something I do, and I learned in Ignite when I first took Ignite at Keller Williams, is I'm like, oh, I love this house. And I'll stop right there. Or, oh, I love the possibilities here. And you start asking questions, because if you give your opinion, even if I love the house, they're the ones living there. So if you start asking questions like, oh, well, how would you arrange this room? Or, oh, what would you use this room for? Or, oh, could you see, like, you know, I know that you guys, Easter's coming up. I know that you guys usually have, you said you have a huge Easter brunch. Like, could you see yourself having Easter brunch here? You know, asking the questions and getting the wheels turning really helps them visualize the different things, not necessarily like arranging furniture, but like seeing if they can see themselves in the home, versus if they start walking around, they're like, no, I don't think this would work. You know, we have a lot of family gatherings. Yeah, the house is really nice, but I can't picture it. So asking questions over and over again, you know, not to where you're annoying, but as you're going through the rooms, yeah, what could you do with this room? Or what could you do with this space? Just so that they have an idea. I find it a lot in vacant homes too, where there's no furniture. It really helps buyers. And I keep a tape measure in my car too. That's another thing I would do. I learned the hard way. Definitely keep a tape measure in your car. Because we were guessing one day, I was like, I'll never do this again. So I now have a tape measure in my car and I can go back out and get it. And they're like, oh, you know, I think our couch is such and such. I'm like, great, we'll just measure off and we'll see if, you know, if it would work, or our dining room table, or, you know, because when it's vacant, it's really hard sometimes for them to visualize. So you know, it's about asking questions. It's about figuring out what works for them mainly. And that's just from learning about your clients and getting to know them a lot of the time, because it's going to be different questions with each set of clients. Next we have home touring etiquette. See, I'm still not at this page. They're throwing me off with this. Please always leave the home as you found it. Oh, sorry. I mean to go next. That includes like making sure the lights are on and off, unless they're telling you. I've had several sellers that don't want, they're leaving all the lights on because of COVID. And then they're trying to like leave closet doors open and everything. I've had several sellers who are like, just leave any door or drawer open, like in the kitchen or bathroom, and we'll wipe it down later. Unless they specifically tell you that, I would tell you to turn all the lights back off and close everything back up how you found it. Again, I showed a home this weekend. The front door was totally unlocked. The agent had been there the afternoon before I went in the morning, and it wasn't locked at all. And the sellers are not home. They were out of town for the weekend because their home was just listed. So just double checking, especially on the lock, you know, making sure that you're being really respectful. Yeah, be mindful of the pets. A lot of times you'll see somebody else join in. You'll see, you know, don't let the cat out or the dog's in the crate. Obviously not sticking your fingers in the dog crate. I had a client who wanted to do that. I was like, please don't do that. Even if that's the nicest dog in the world, please, you know, we're going to be respectful of their space as long as it's their space. Anything that's off, absolutely text the agent. Even if you're not buying the home, even if your client doesn't like the home, if you see something that you think, like the home Sunday or this past weekend, I think I was there Saturday, I called the agent and I was like, just so you know, I don't know who else has been in here. I said, but their front door was unlocked. And luckily it had only been one other person, so he was able to narrow it down. I was like, I don't think anything's been messed with, but I don't know. And I just wanted to make you aware. So just, you know, making sure to be respectful so that we keep that good reputation, you know, people stay happy. No, we're skipping that one. See, this is the partner stuff. See, if we could have gone and had class outside, we could have partnered up. Not really, but I still want class outside. I went ahead and went to the next slide. I was tired of looking at that one, so hold on. It says, there's no passion, there's no vision from Mo Anderson. Some more things about the buyers. Recognizing the signals when you go through the home. Body language is a big one. And facial expressions. If there's no smiling and you've met your client and you've had a buyer consult and they're happy and they're smiling and they're nice and they're talking to you, and then all of a sudden you go show the home and there's no smiling at all, that's a clue right there that there's something going on. You know, whether it's the home or whether something has changed, watch how they're reacting to the home. You know, you should hear oohs and ahs and, ooh, I really like this, or ooh, did you see this upgrade? You should hear like positive things, right? You should not, usually for the most part, it should not be silence, and it should not be that like stern face as they're going through the home. There should be some happiness somewhere. So watching for their facial cues, their expressions to change, the tone of their voice, seeing how they move through the home. Always ask about a seller's motivations if you have a chance to talk to the selling agent to find out why the seller is moving. It is really good. Sometimes the seller doesn't have to move, they just want to. In which case you need to figure out, you know, you have to have a really strong offer. Sometimes the seller has to sell within so many days because they're already under contract. They're moving out of state, but always finding out what the motivation is behind why the seller is selling can help make your offer stronger. I have a listing that closes tomorrow, and the winning bid was the one that actually gave us the extra week because my clients were moving out of state and they needed a 5-week close versus a 4-week close. It was not the highest offer. It was the one that could give us the most time. So, but the agent had called me and he had said, what's really important. And I was like, well, I said, I know it stinks, but you know, the longer the closing, if we can just get to the middle of March, I said, it would really help them because they're moving out, totally out of the area. So he extended his closing longer than any of the other agents. But that's why his bid won. It says on here, visualize the furniture placement. That's where that tape measure comes in handy, that I've learned the hard way that you need to take with you. I've also found if you show a couple homes to a buyer, and a question continually comes up not a question, but like, a concern they continually have is, let's say their master bedroom furniture is really big and they're always like, my furniture won't fit. Having them take the dimensions in the pictures so that you can have them. So when you're going out and looking and showing them, because sometimes if you see somebody else's furniture, you see a vacant room, you don't know how it'll fit. And that can get them past that concern that they have. So being prepared and knowing as much as you can about what's going on is always going to help you. Because if if they say, well, the master bedroom's not big enough, and you've had them take the dimensions and you've got a tape measure to show them that, yeah, you still have, plenty of walkway, you have room for that new dresser, you have room for a sitting area, whatever, then they can take a step back and look at it more objectively. I think my eyes are dying. Also asking for a second showing. If your buyers ask for a second showing, that's usually probably a really good sign. That's kind of funny on here. But asking for a second showing, I'd say they really do like the house and they want to stay there. When they sit down like on the couch, this is all about, recognizing the signals as you're going through. If they're going to sit on the couch or, sit at the table, and kind of look around, and just sit there and go, oh, our table would go great here. When they start placing stuff, when they start saying, this room would look great in such and such color, those are all cues that you're going down the right road and that they're coming, this is a good home. We need to keep it on the list. Look, we're almost to the same page now. Ha. I knew I'd get there eventually if I just kept holding on before going to the next screen. So the next session is bring your buyers to a decision. So again, you don't want to make the decision for them, right? You want to ask questions that help them lead to that decision. You want to show them what they've asked for, show them what the home offers, but you want them to make the decision. That's their home, it's where they're living. This compares us to a tour guide. You basically are a glorified tour guide for the home buying process, sorry. I don't know if you guys can see this. You're not gonna be able to see it. On page 24 is where we are. And it says, it wants you to talk about, and I'm sure somebody on here, so I would love to hear somebody else, so I don't have to keep talking. Does somebody else have, and then I'm gonna pull the video up if I can, if she gave it to me. She may not have. How do you handle buyers who are afraid to pull the trigger? Like if you've gone through multiple homes, I can tell you how I handle it, but I would like to hear from somebody else, if somebody else has experience with that too. You've shown them 5 or 6 homes, at least 2 or 3 of those homes all fit the criteria they've asked for, and they're still like on the fence. Does anybody else have ways that they help their buyers kind of get off the fence? Y'all have to be tired of hearing my voice.
And you can always have a consultation with them and go, look, you guys really serious about wanting to buy a house because we found multiple properties that do work for your, so, let's talk about your desire of how interested you really are to buy now.
I like that. I didn't think about, how serious are you? How ready are you? Let me stop the screen share so that I can pull this video up, because she did not pull this one up for me. She didn't give it to me. Cassandra, you didn't give me the video. Are you still on here? Okay, well, Cassandra's not on here either. Okay, we're going back to the PowerPoint. Sorry. I was gonna pull the video up, but she did not give it to me.
Which video do you need, Katie?
It's the creating buyer urgency.
All right, give me a second.
But she did not send it to me in my handy dandy email that she gave me. She forgot that part. And I thought she was on here to tell me where it was, but she's not on here. But that'll give you some more clues and some more tips about creating that urgency. I text her because I need that video.
I've got it.
You got it? Thank you.
Hi, my name's Sean Healy, and today I'm going to teach you how to create buyer urgency through the showing process. And the first step is setting expectations. We tell buyers that it is a seller's market, and what that means is the best homes go fast. The next area that we set expectations in is multiple offers. We tell our buyers there's going to be a lot of other buyers out there, and you may find yourself in a competitive situation. The third area that we set expectations on is condition. Many of the homes that they're going into are going to be move-in ready, but they need a little bit of work. The next step in the process we call the funnel. And essentially, we're trying to take the entire MLS and funnel it down so that at the end of the day, there can be only one house that kicks out the bottom. What I'd like you to do tonight, pick out the best 10 or 15 homes, and then tomorrow drive by those homes and check them out. I want you to pick out the best 3 or 4, and we'll go out and take a look at those homes. Next part is the actual showing process. We show the first house. You'll ask the buyer, on a scale of 1 to 7, leaving out the 4, 7 being perfect, and there is no perfect home, and 1 being unlivable, where would you rate this home? Inevitably, the buyer will answer it's a 5. And the reason they give you a 5 is because they don't have anything else to compare it to on the very first home that they've gone to see. Then what you want to do is try and reinforce what's making it a 5 for you. Then the next question you asked said, what are some of the things that you would do to move it more towards a 7 if you were to purchase it? You go on to the next house. Now you ask an alternative of choice question. Pretend you had to buy one of these 2 houses today. Which one would it be? The last one we saw or this one? They liked the first one better. Perfect. Go to the third house. The third house, you do the same thing. You say, all right, Gary, pretend there's only 2 homes on the market and you have to buy one today. Which one is it? The first one we saw or this one? And they say, this one. And you repeat that process over and over until you get to the last house. At the end of the day, you say, well, it looks like 123 Main Street was your favorite house. So right there from the house, we call the listing agent, find out if the home is still available. Let's go back to the office and get this property written up before somebody else gets it. My biggest aha out of this came when I was out with one of my first-time buyer families, and we drove up to the first house, and my buyer said, I don't even want to go in that one. What he ended up telling me at the end of that trip was, Sean, what I want you to do is print me out a list of every home that matches my criteria. I'm going to drive by those homes, and I'll tell you which ones I want to see. Aha! Hey, thanks for watching KW Connect, and make it a great day.
Thank you.
That
Glad
thing
you
was
had it.
awesome. That was an awesome video.
Yeah, I like that one. Oh, gracious. Now I got to share my screen with you again.
Hey, I missed
Yeah.
when you first came on. So you're in Roanoke,
I am.
and how long have you been with Keller Williams?
I totally just lost my Zoom thingy. I have been with Keller Williams for almost 3 years.
Well, you're awesome, and you're giving a great class. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Sorry, I get frustrated because most of this is partner stuff. So I'm frustrated by reading off. I'm like, we can't partner up because everybody's at their different place. So I'm trying. So I like the video too. And I like that they compare one by one, because that's exactly what I do. I'm like, which of these two, like, you should be able to say one is a yes and one is no. If they're both yeses, then house number 3 should be a no. Like, if you find the client that says yes to all 3, I will gladly take that client off your hands, because I have yet to find that client. Like, I just don't think they exist. Usually there's something, but also, and I'm sure everybody's had this experience. I have a client that's under contract. We pulled up. She didn't even want to go in at first, even though she liked the location and the style of the house, because of the color of the shutters. And so we get out of the car. I see you shaking your head. We get out of the car and she looked at me. She's like, I don't know. That's a lot brighter in person. I was like, what? She goes, I just don't know if I want to go in. I was like, what is a lot? Like, I was really confused because of course, as a realtor, you can see past paint color. And I was like, what's a lot brighter? Like, it was a sunny day. I mean, it's not like lights were on outside. And she goes, those shutters. I was like, are you kidding me right now? I said, we can paint them. And she goes to me, she's like, oh, I guess you're right. It's the house she bought. She closes Monday, the painter comes Tuesday because she could not stand those shutters. But the inside of the house was perfect for her. So it's all about, just like he said, like working through and asking those questions. And like I said, I wish somebody had given me Ignite when I first became a realtor, because I was not at Keller Williams. But it would have saved me a lot of time. I just learned the hard way. That asking the questions usually gets you a little further, and it helps you understand what your client's looking for. Oh, see, I don't like this part though, because it's skipping all these pages in the meantime. So when I call the listing agent, usually I've already talked to him at least once, to find out what the seller, why the seller is selling, find out the ages of any systems I can. But I also ask if there's an offer on the table, especially in this market. I do not want to go show a home, have my clients fall in love without knowing what I'm up against. And some agents are getting really good and they're putting in the private remarks, home to begin showings Friday, no listing will be reviewed until such and such time on Sunday, no exceptions. Then you're good. Other than that, even with vacant homes in the Valley, and I know that I was just talking to our broker, Amber, about it, not that long ago, and she was like, shoot them a text, because even the vacant homes sometimes are already under contract by the time you go, and then your client falls in love and you call because it's
Hey,
vacant.
Diane.
You could have just, pardon?
How are you?
Good. You just go and show them the home and then it's already under
Sure,
contract. So always call and see if you can get hold of the agent ahead of time to know what we're doing. Okay. So these are the buyer objections. This is my favorite. I'm going to read you what they have in here for us. And I know you guys have it there. So on page 28, it says, what if prices drop? If prices drop, there's something wrong with this house, especially in this market. If this is still on the market and this price has dropped, it was overpriced, or there is some condition with the house that buyers cannot get past. 9 times out of 10, it's overpriced right now. And there's no easy way to tell a buyer that. That's doing your research ahead of time, knowing the area they want to go in, looking to see what other homes have sold for similar, and just telling them honestly, look, yeah, it's a little high, but it's not high enough, or, it's been on the market for a month because such and such, such and such has happened. So going through and dealing with them. The other thing a lot of people are worried about that I'm seeing a lot, is they're afraid of a market crash. And my answer always is the rates are what is driving this. These rates are crazy. Even though they've jumped back up a little bit, still a 3.5% rate on your mortgage. I would take that any day of the week. I don't care what anybody says, like, I will take that so much more over some of these other rates. So that's the big objection that I'm seeing, and I'm sure everybody else is too. And when they get nervous over the price of the home and the rate, that's when I call the lender. And I have the lender talk them through what their monthly payment would be. We call the seller and ask what the average electric bill. And I'm like, look, it's a family of 4, you're a family of 5 or 6, whatever, moving in. So yours is going to be a little different. But this is what theirs were, just to try to show them, people get really nervous when they start working with that money. The next objection on here is we want to sleep on it. Great. I know it's a big decision in this market. If you sleep on it, please don't call me tomorrow and tell me you want that house. That's basically my answer now. I'm like, go get food so you're not hungry. But please don't sleep on it. Or I'll call the agent and I'm like, hey, when are you reviewing offers? Because if they tell me that night, I'm like, yes or no. Either you like it enough or you don't. And it sucks as an agent, honestly, because I really would like to give my clients a night to sleep on it because it's a big purchase. But I've had several lately where they're like, we want to sleep on it. I'm like, that to me says a no automatically, especially when they're in this market and they're used to dealing with this. Just because if they're not ready to make the commitment when they walk in, and they want to sleep on it, chances are there's some hesitation that you just haven't gotten out of them yet, that they just haven't communicated. You know, it's not that you haven't asked the right question. It may be that they don't even know what it is. They just know there's something there. There's some kind of roadblock stopping them from going with this house. Hold on, let's see. All right. It wants you to practice scripts right now, so we're skipping that. We're going to the show homes part. Actually, the first thing we're going to do in your books, you guys are laughing at me, I know, over that tape measure, but on page 31, it tells you what to take. And it gives you a nice little table of things you should have. I don't take paperwork. I don't take maps. I take my phone. I do have a first aid kit. I do have a flashlight. I do have a tape measure. I also carry toilet paper, having shown homes multiple times to pregnant women where there is no toilet paper in the bathrooms. I have a whole roll in my car. And once anybody starts to use it, I replace it with another one. I also keep soap and paper towels because, again, vacant homes where they've got water on. I told you I work with a lot of families. I've learned these over the years. Keep toilet paper, if not, I have soap and paper towels, but at least hand sanitizer. I have a nice little bag in the back of my car, and everybody laughs, but everybody who's needed that toilet paper has been very grateful that I have it. I try to keep water bottles and some granola bars, especially if you know, if you've got a family going or something, just to keep people's energy up. I do not do entertainment for kids, even though I have 3. That would be a really good idea. It's on the list. I do have an umbrella. So it's just like, it's a little cheat sheet to help you guys know things that you should take, things you shouldn't, you know, that I should pay attention to, because I have my tape measure now. All right. So on page 32, we are looking at showing the homes. Oh, it wants you to pretend that you're in a home right now, which everybody should be, except for the people outside who I'm super jealous of still. I'm in the cold office. Here. Okay. As you go through the home, it's saying to talk about the objections they have, right? So remember when I said that my buyer sheet, when I have them fill out those questions, I have some really like off the wall questions on the sheet. Like I have, if you pulled up to the home, what is an automatic deal breaker? Something that you cannot get past. If you pull up and see it at the home, if it's going to make us go to the next home because you're done, or walking within the door, you're done, we're out. I have your favorite room, because, you know, they may say, hey, we want a big kitchen because we have a big family. Then you find out that one of them went to culinary school. Later on, they didn't tell you that. And yet the kitchen in the house they sent you was good for a big family, but not a chef's kitchen. So that's why I ask such weird questions to some of my clients. And then they go through it and they're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I have one client that only wants a gas stove. So if there's no gas run to the property, they don't want to see it because they don't want to deal with the gas company even coming out to hook up a gas stove. But that's really important to them. So it's all about, when you do that buyer consult, that's where you're going to learn. I know they're telling me further down in our guide, but I'm telling you, when you sit down with the buyers and do that consult, you're going to learn so much, and you want to get to know the family. I ask what kind of yard they need. You know, I ask about pets. I'm like, you know, if they say, well, we need a big yard. Okay, great. What do you need a big yard for? You tell me. Do you need it for your kids? Do you need it for your pets? Or do you just not want to be around people? Because needing a big yard is different from needing acreage. You know, they could say they want a couple acres, but they don't want to mow it. Okay, well, then we need to go somewhere where it's wooded. So these are all the questions that I try to find out ahead of time so that I can narrow the homes down before we even get to this point. Usually by the time I'm taking them to a home, I'm not, some of these things I'm not dealing with, simply because I spent so long in the beginning getting to know them and getting some answers. And then if something changes, and I think actually Tina was the one that taught me this, you ask them, how did she phrase it? I have to remember how Tina phrases it. But you basically ask them what has happened since you last saw them for the answer to be a different. You don't ask them what changed or what happened. Tina has a great way of phrasing it, and I completely forget what it is right now. She has a great way of basically asking, what has occurred in the meantime? You know, originally you said you wanted a 4-bed, 3-bath home. Great. What has occurred to make you say that now a 3-bed is okay? You know, because if there's a change and a big change on something on the home that's going to change what you're looking for, you need to know it. I have clients that just ended up pregnant. So we went from needing a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom pretty fast. They didn't tell me originally why we were going to 4 bedrooms. And of course, there was nothing in their price range. And then they spilled the beans. And I was like, well, of course we need another bedroom now. I was like, but I need to know these things, you know, as we're moving forward, because when you tell me one thing and then you change, you know, you have to kind of figure out what's happening in the background and going on in their lives to go to the next step. That's the action plan. This is where your homework is. Oh, good God. I needed like my tablet here next to my computer or a double screen, because I'm telling you guys, I do have my contacts in, but I cannot read this. It's so tiny. Okay. It says, please ensure that participants are preparing with their mission. That's the homework. So I'm going to ensure that I at least reminded you to do it. But really, I have no issues with the homework. The homework I would tell you is to work on a buyer sheet. When I say that that's where I can usually keep them on track is by saying, hey, look, remember these questions I asked you? We filled them out, whether, you know, right now everything's over Zoom. So usually I'm asking in writing, or they say we want to fill it out, you know, later. We want to, you know, whatever the situation is, they're like, can we fill it out and send it back to you? I'm like, great. I just need the answers. However you feel best filling it out is great. But I keep that sheet so I keep them on track. So my suggestion, even though, you know, I know you're supposed to be doing this homework, would be to get a really good buyer questionnaire. Ask a bunch of different agents, you know, what questions they ask agents, or not agents, ask buyers when they're meeting them. Think about the questions that you've had when you've gone out with buyers. I think I had like 3 or 4 pages by the time I finished gleaming from everybody, and I had to kind of narrow it down, you know, because you don't want to lose their interest to the most important things on the list. I ask who's moving with them. It may not be as easy as you think. You know, they may say they want a 1-level home because they don't like stairs. And then you find out that grandma's moving with them and grandma can't do stairs, but they didn't tell you that. So just keeping, and I do update our question sheet. Probably every couple months, I'm changing a question out based on how I see things moving in the market, or based on how I've seen things, you know, when I've done a buyer consult, I'm like, oh, this question really didn't help at all when we went to go show a home. But if I had asked it this way, or I had asked about this specific part of it, that's really what helped people, and how I learned exactly what they're looking for and how to help them. But you're also supposed to be growing your database. Pretty sure that's on all of them. So please remember to add your contacts, because whoever teaches session 9 is going to ask if you did your homework, just like I did. But you can at least say that I reminded you this way. Does anybody have any questions? I feel like all it is me talking. So I feel bad.
That's the weirdest thing about doing it. This is my like 3rd time doing it tonight. And it's so weird not being in the classroom. And I know you feel like you're just sitting there lecturing all of us, but we're enjoying this. Like, you're doing a great job.
It's really weird to me. Ignite I love, because it has all the different pieces. I was a part-time agent at another office for 1.5 years. And I came to California because of the training. So like the week I joined was when Bold started a couple years ago. So I was literally thrown like right into the wolf's den. And I was like, oh, this is so overwhelming. And I get through Bold, and then they're like, oh, well, we have Ignite coming up. I was like, no. I need like time to process all the Bold, which I love. I was like, you know, coming from somewhere where I didn't have it, I was like, y'all got to give me a little bit, like I got to take a breather. So I ended up not going to like the first couple sessions of Ignite. And then I went to the end and I was like, oh, I happen to really like Ignite, because you have different agents teaching, you learn different things. And I get that this is all the same every time, but it's good because we all do it differently. And that I've actually learned a ton. This is probably, I don't know, in 3 years is probably the 3rd time of Ignite. And I learn each time going through, and I still don't make it to every single one because, you know, of life and all the different commitments, but I try to jump on the ones I can. I'm always like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. But I do feel bad because so much of this one, especially, is supposed to be done in person because you're supposed to team up and we're supposed to make a whole home. So I do feel bad. So I want to make sure that, that you at least got something that is good versus me talking the whole time.
Hey, Katie, can you do me a favor?
Yes, ma'am.
So not to put you on the spot, but
Uh-oh.
Rachel Lanier, Tina Fryer's, she actually runs Tina Fryer's team. She said that you are a superstar when it comes to open houses and that you've had up to 80 people in your open house.
That was my buyer's agent. And I'm really pissed off over that because she got a higher number than I did.
Well,
I
she had a
had-
good leader.
I was pissed off because I was supposed to be the one who had the most. So I usually have 20 to 40. Tina's right. And I was mad because I taught them how to do it and they had 80. I was like, wait a second. I was supposed to be the one with the most. So yeah, Tina actually she was at our last, the last open house class I did. And really it's so simple that it's stupid. It's all marketing. And Tina, I'm sure will tell you that I'm probably the cheapest agent at Keller Williams. So I promise you my marketing does not cost a lot. So when I do an open house, I literally will put it up. Like we have a listing. If the listing hits the market, I try to put the listing up on Friday. And unless it sells Friday, we usually have the open house. So when I put the listing on social media, I also start blasting that open house on social media. And we share it to all, like all the normal yard sale, the homepage groups. I ask all the friends to share it so it hits thousands of people across social media, right? Then I also do a live video, which I hate because I hate hearing myself talk, which is probably why I feel bad for you guys right now. But I do a live video. I get to the house early and I will do a live video. Like when I say early, if my open house is 2 to 4, I mean like 1 o'clock early. So I'll get there and I'm like, hey guys, don't forget, at 2 o'clock, I've got an open house. Like, look how cool this house is. Do you know where I am? And I hype it up so that then people want to come see me, basically. I'll like do a little turn around the neighborhood and I'm like, do you want to see my favorite part of the house? And I'm like, let's just check this out real quick. I've got to get ready for the open house, but I want to show you this one cool feature or one cool thing that really stands out, because then the people start watching the video and they want to know they want to see the rest of the house, basically. I also have a ton of signs, which Tina just picked up. I'm really obnoxious with them because basically, even as adults, we still suffer from FOMO. I tell my teenager this all the time. It's the fear of missing out. And literally people cannot drive by an open house if there's multiple signs in the yard. I have watched people. They will be driving down the road. And when I say multiple signs, I'll have to find a picture, Teresa, or you can ask Tina to show you. When I say it's obnoxious, I know I'm obnoxious, but I put like 8 or 9 signs in the yard.
I love obnoxious. It's like a car dealership.
It is. And people literally, I have watched them. They like creep as they go past the home and you can see them like it's rubbernecking because they want to know what's going on. And you can watch the car. It'll make a U-turn at the end and it'll pull up. They're not even looking for a home. But I get the fun call out signs. So like our RVAR office has them and they're less than $10. But you can get them off. I've gotten some off Amazon too. And it's like, honey, stop the car. Your new dream home. Welcome to your neighborhood. My favorite is your dog will love this home. So anytime I have a fenced in yard, I make sure to put your dog will love this home. And on all the call outs there, you have holes punched at the top. I go to the Dollar Tree and I get red balloons, like the stars or the hearts, whatever the Dollar Tree has that day is what I get. But I get like 10 or 12 balloons and I attach the balloons to the signs. So, as if the signs weren't obnoxious enough, then I put balloons. I also put the directionals at the ends of the street to point them into the house. I'm trying to think what else I do. Oh, by the end of the open house, I've usually cut half the balloons off because it never fails. There's a family and there's what does a kid always want? They see a balloon, they want to go pop it or like, bop on it. So I'm like, oh, do you want a balloon? Here you go. And I'm like, my name's Katie. What's your name? And it gives you a way to connect to them. And then I don't have to deal with the balloons because all my kids are going to do is suck the helium out of them by the time I get them home. So then I don't have to deal with cleaning up balloons either. I make Keller Williams cookies usually. They're just sugar cookies. I take my K&W cookie cutters and push together and I use red icing. They're really cute. And they're not that hard to make. And usually people don't eat at an open house, but then when they see the cookies that are a KW and they've seen like, I don't have my mask on, so there's nobody in here with me, but like, if I have my mask on, they see the KW on my mask. They've seen the KW on the sign and they're like, oh, did you order this? I'm like, no, I made them. And then they take them. But that's like one of the few foods I've ever found that people take. And then I get feedback from just about everybody who goes through the open house, which is the real big kicker. And I would love to take credit for it. I don't even know who to give credit. Shortly after, it was when I was in Bold, and they tell you to join all the Keller Williams groups on Facebook. So my mind was nowhere near where it should have been because I was so overwhelmed. In one of those groups, they had the most amazing open house sign-in sheet. I wish it's all in my office. I don't have it, or my car, I bet. And I can email anybody who wants to see it. I have no bones about sharing it because I'm not the one who made it. And basically it's a rating sheet. So like when they walk in, I'm like, hi, I'm Katie. I'm the listing agent. You know, it's very nice to meet you. And I hand them, it's on a clipboard, and it asks them to rate the home basically. And there is a section at the bottom. So like you would put like Teresa Grant, and you could put a phone number if you wanted and an email, but you don't have to. Like, I don't require anybody to fill that section in, but I also have a line that says realtor so that they can put their realtor's name. And I literally do that just so, you know, I'm like, hey, the sellers, this goes straight to them. I don't ever keep the sheets, and that's the truth. Now, if they put their information down here, I sure as heck take a picture of that, especially if they're not represented, and I keep it, but I don't keep the sheets. The sheets go straight to my sellers. And it's 1 through 5. It's like master bedroom, kitchen, floor plan, overall curb appeal.
So
Oh,
are
no.
the clients, are the people that, the customers that come in, are they actually rating the house?
They rate the house themselves. And I tell them why. I'm like, it's on a clipboard. I'm like, if you could just take this around while you walk around. I'm like, if you have any questions, please ask me. The sellers, this just goes directly to them so that nothing gets lost in translation. So they have honest feedback from the people in the home today. I'm like, and if you're working with a realtor, please make sure to put their name down here so that I can remember, you know, if they call me later, I can be like, oh yeah, you know, Teresa, I remember your clients, they were super sweet. Not that I'm going to remember them necessarily, but you know, I try to, but I guarantee you what happens. And again, I would love to take credit for my sheet and pretend it's right here. I cannot take credit, but what happens is, oh, I'm working with an agent. Oh, really? Who are you working with? Well, I've always worked with Teresa in the past. Oh, great. Well, tell Teresa I said hi. They haven't even called you yet because they're not even thinking about buying a house yet. Or they, you know, oh, well, my neighbor used Teresa, so I'll end up calling her. But they won't put your name down because they may not even know you. They may not even be calling you. And so what happens is if they don't put a realtor name down, my buyer's agent, we take those leads and she follows up with them. And we've gotten a ton of leads because everybody wants to fill that sheet out because they all want to be given something when they walk in the house.
Exactly.
Not being included.
Yeah. And they don't feel like they're pressured by you either, because now they have something fun to do.
No, they do not feel pressured. And actually, at when I did this summer, I cracked up. I'm only 5'3", so I'm short. And this family walked in, and an agent who I'd worked with, so I knew her, I just had never seen her in person. Like, she's shorter than I am, and I wasn't prepared. So I couldn't see her because her clients are really tall. And I went through my whole spiel. I'm like, please make sure to put their name here. You know, if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'm literally handing it. And I hear, Katie, don't you dare. I know you're not trying to take my client. And she comes from behind them and is like waving her card. And I was like, Cheryl, I didn't. And her clients, before I could even get out, and they're like, Cheryl, she's even got a spot for your name right here. She goes, oh, I guess you don't need my card then. I was like, I know who you are. I was like, they just need to put your name here so I can remember. But it makes all the other, you know, like,
but you do ask for their name and their number and their agent and blah, blah, blah. So you have it at the bottom.
Yes, I have. It literally says name, email, phone number. I think it asks for address too, and realtor, but I tell them to fill out as much or as little as they want. I do not pressure them at all, because when I first started doing open houses, and it's like, no, I need you to sign in because I need, you know, my brokerage needs to know who was here. You know, you get Teresa, 1, 2, 3 Easy Street. You don't get anything. But with these sheets, and like I said, I'd love to take credit. I mean, we've adapted it to fit us, obviously. I actually had Becca, she went in and adapted it for my team. But I get feedback for everybody, and we get a ton of leads because the people are so relaxed coming in.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you for sharing that. I sent you a text.
Welcome.
I'm gonna want you again.
Okay. That's fine. I teach the open house class is probably recorded. I have a whole slideshow and everything for it.
Oh, yes, that would be awesome.
But we do. I'm still mad they beat me on that one. But most of mine, even with COVID in the past year, I don't think I've ever had less than 20 people at an open house since I started this system.
That's
So like in
amazing.
the past, since at least, I don't even know, since at least the fall of 2019. So I started it a couple months before, like I wish I'd had it for that summer. It was in the fall. And then COVID hit in the spring, we couldn't do them, but we picked up right again after, and our open houses still haven't suffered. And other agents have actually used the same system, not on my team that I've taught. And they're even surprised. They're like, I had 15 or 20 people. I was like, told you so. Because people, they don't drive past, and then they stop and they give you the feedback.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. As long as I don't have to hear my voice, I feel bad for you guys, but
No,
long as I don't have
you
to hear
have
them good.
your voice is very animated, and it's great. It brings the room alive. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
I really love
Absolutely.
that rating sheet that you talked about. That's great.
I'm
And where-
telling you. Yeah.
And where are you getting your cute little open house signs?
RVAR, but Amazon has them too.
I saw one at RVAR that your dog will love this house. And
Yep.
in the office, they have them.
Yep. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm gonna stop share. I'll show you. Maybe I'll show you. I have a ton of them. Y'all don't judge what you're about to see. Let's see if it'll screen share now. You guys see my PowerPoint now? This is what I used to teach the class. I do realize this is not related at all, but it gives you an idea. Honey, stop the car, your new dream home. The your dog will love it is behind the lender sign. I have the directionals. That day, clearly they were sold out of star balloons. I usually use stars, but I got hearts because Keller Williams is red. They always have a solid red balloon at the Dollar Tree, and they're $1.
No, I love it.
Yeah. I think you can, yeah, see?
Hey, yeah, will you share your PowerPoint with my productivity class one day? You can share
Yeah.
the whole thing now if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go through. I mean, it literally, I'll do the whole thing with you. It literally goes through here and shows you the flyers, the ads, the signs, the balloons, the unique. Oh, we have door hangers too. I knew there was something I forgot. Sorry, Teresa. There's the cookies. And actually, I don't even like the cookies, but people who like sugar cookies do. There's no chocolate, so I don't want them. But everybody else likes them, and they're unique, and people will remember it.
No, they're adorable.
So, but you can see the, I knew where the PowerPoint was, but not where the picture on Instagram is.
Where's the flyer? I want to see your flyer.
There's one of them. I used to put a lot of words on them. I don't put words anymore. People want pictures. So I put like the description in the post, and I'll put words in the post, but people don't read them on the flyer.
No, they just want to see it. What about the one that you're where they're going through the rooms to judge the house?
That's it. Oh, I was almost good. Sales price and meets your criteria were the other two. And I can send this to anybody. Obviously, I'll take the Katie & Co logo off. It was not this pretty. Rebecca Hartley made it prettier for me because I taught her how to do this. And she had so many people come to her open house that she turned around and made my flyer prettier for me.
Oh my
As
gosh,
like a
I
thank
love
you.
it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
wants
take over your class. It was just
No.
so interesting.
I'm just glad somebody else talked. Because it is weird being in, I'm in the conference room, but there's nobody else here. So to me, it's very weird because I'm a people person. But if anybody wants that, I can email it. It's in Canva.
Yes.
It's not
Hey,
hard.
email it to me and I'll forward it to everyone else.
Okay. I'm making a note right now.
All right. It's Teresa Grant, TERESA
AW.
Yep, at kw.com.
Okay, I'll take the logo off and email it to you. But it's super easy because you can see down here at the bottom where my logo is, like you can put your logo, or you can just put like a generic Keller Williams logo. But in the, let's say, year and a half that I've had this, I've only had one person who didn't want to fill it out. He's a grumpy old man. And he assured me his wife always filled these out, that he does not fill things out like this. I was like, okay. I said, well, if you have any questions, I didn't push him. And I was just like, I had a really good streak going. Like I was kind of irritated. And he actually came back at the end of the open house and he goes, I don't have to give you my information. Like he was seriously grumpy, like grumpier than my husband. And I was like, no, sir, you do not. He goes, well, I guess I could rate it for the sellers. Everybody else did. So I guess it's not that bad. I was like, oh, okay. So when I say I've never had anybody not fill this out, thanks to him coming back, I've literally in a year and a half, every time I try to hand a clipboard to, the buyer coming in, they always take it. You don't always get information from them. Like they could just circle the numbers.
Oh, his grumpy butt came back in. So obviously he was interested in something.
Because it's FOMO. I'm telling you, it's totally the fear of missing out, that everybody else had something he didn't have. That's why everybody stops at the open house. But that's how we get so many of our buyer leads, because they don't want to miss out. They're afraid, they're for sure in their minds that we're doing something super cool. You and I both know it's not super cool. It's just a job, but they're for sure there's something cool they're going to miss if they don't stop. But I'm trying to, and 9 times out of 10, you at least get a first name. Like, even if they have they'll put, and if they have a realtor, they'll give you all their information. That's what cracks me up. So I have gone in sometimes, after an open house, if the house didn't sell within like a week, or actually a couple days, like the open house was on Sunday, I've gone back and I have emailed, like if it says, this person's name is John Doe, but his agent is Teresa Grant. I've gone in and I've emailed the John Doe and the Teresa Grant and just been like, thanks so much for coming to my open house. It was very nice to meet you. If you have any questions, please tell, Teresa, if he has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Just to, kind of keep it rolling on the off chance they haven't moved forward.
No, I think it's fabulous.
Yeah, I really would like to take credit, but I can't. And I don't even know who to give it to. I'd like to give credit to whoever that agent was who shared it, but
that's the beautiful thing about Keller Williams is we share all our secrets.
I'm telling you, this is the best thing ever. So I'll email it to you. You can share with whoever you want in the office. It is awesome.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have any questions? Now that you've heard me ramble on even longer, sorry.
No, we're ready to get these flyers together and put together some things that you taught us today.
Yeah, I literally put this flyer on a Dollar Tree clipboard. Like when I say I'm cheap, I'm cheap.
I just can't find your sign. So RVAR has them, and I've been Googling while we're talking, like Amazon, and I can't find anything in there.
Because Amazon phrases it funny. Hold on. And it drives me crazy. They're on there. Starburst real estate sign.
Starburst real estate.
Like Starburst the
sign.
candy.
Yeah.
And you'll find one of them.
Okay.
And once you find one of the companies, like, look, you can see it. Okay. It also
And then they're all
Starburst.
going to be thrown at you.
Right. Once you find one of the companies, then you can just go and see what they have. But like I have coming soon ones. I don't even know some of the ones. And I also just double up on them, because the other thing is people are not actually reading all the signs. They're just scared they're missing something. That sounds awful, but
now it's like a party.
Yeah. And they don't want to miss whatever's going on at that house. So, but they're really, Tina just bought some. They're super cheap.
No, they sound adorable.
And they have funny saying. There was one that somebody else just posted that I didn't have. I was like, man, I gotta go back by. Because I like the honey stop the car, and I like the your dog will love this place, because people usually chuckle.
Yeah, I think so too. I like both of those.
Yeah. Well, if anybody has questions, I'm probably the worst at answering my phone, but I answer texts and Facebook messages really fast.
Hey,
Usually.
I sent you a text message already.
Oh yeah, you did.
I did.
I got it. Yes. Just tell me when and I can do it. And I'm gonna email you this form over, so you can share it.
Okay, and I'll text you my email address too, just in case it's not written down right. So thank you. And then I'll
Perfect.
share it with everybody on my end.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll get some more buyer leads. We get a ton.
It was so nice of you to give this class. Is the class over? Did we finish?
Oh yeah, I was finished because half the activities are supposed to be in person.
All right. Well, good.
So it
I
just
had-
frustrated me because we couldn't go in person.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
and you know
welcome.
what?
Thank you guys.
I would love it. Like you could like do a nice little YouTube video and do your little thing, and then we'll just play it at all my classes.
We'll see. I usually tell Tina, I don't like it's recording right now. I hate being recorded because I don't want to hear my voice later.
No, you're great. You're animated.
But she
I'm
has
telling you.
asked. Yeah, she's asked for several of them to be recorded. So
All right, now you have Tina. Yeah, both of us. After
yeah,
now.
I know. So I'll tell her that we'll record them. We'll do an open house one.
All right. I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.